The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Welcome to Freedom Chat, where real Americans speak their minds. And no topic is off limits. No scripts, no judgment, just honest conversation. Raw, unfiltered, and free. If you're ready to challenge the narrative and celebrate true freedom, you're in the right place. This is Freedom Chat.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, Mom.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dennis.
Good morning to you all.
All right. Well, when I posted what I posted, and I posted the last one, the things that we're going to talk about, which is own your crap. Here's what happens when you send a post out that basically is a anti-Trump, anti-14th Amendment post, and you try to use his first wife and his first three children as your example. You get called by Mark, me, a moron. Why? Why would I call you a moron? Well, let me tell you why. They were married. She was not crossing the border, almost ready to pop that child out. They didn't start conceiving until after she was established as his wife. She was under a legal visa. They were conceived by an American citizen and a person with a visa. So the 14th Amendment does not apply to those children. For you, the person who posted that, to post that, and then other people to come out and defend that and try to tell me that I shouldn't be dismissive. Why shouldn't I be dismissive? Dennis, why should I not be dismissive? For the love of God, explain to me how that has anything to do with the 14th Amendment, number one, and explain to me, my God, I should be dismissive, shouldn't I? Because apparently that person needs to go back to school and learn what the law is.
Well, that person that posted it is an American citizen. So why do you care, first of all?
Why?
Well, I mean, liberal, okay. Liberal ignorance, I get it. But, why do you even care? I mean, why are so many people trying to defend the fact that illegal aliens, I'm going to call them aliens, I don't care. Why do you care? Why do you care so much about their rights?
Right.
They do not have rights.
Right.
That's therefore, hence the term illegal.
Right. And when you take what was posted, for those of you who don't know, this person posted publicly. That was her first mistake, was that she posted publicly. And then I got called out for calling her a moron, for saying, damn good and well that this is not what that is about. And then I said moron. And then another former classmate came up and said rude. My response to that person was, you actually think that I care what you think. Wow. You know what? When you post something stupid, and I am guilty of that, Dennis is guilty of that. Hell, my mom is guilty of that. But here's the thing. Own your crap. If you know that you posted something stupid, either delete the damn thing or admit, hey, you know what? I made a mistake. This was out of context. This was
I've done both.
Correct. And then the other friend to come on and say, well, your language was just dismissive. Well, yes, it was, because I should not have to address the fact that that was completely out of context. It was blatantly of course it was anti-Donald Trump, because that group of people, and I'm hoping that one of them was watching me so they can hear it from my voice instead of a message conversation. You people are so hung up on that dude. He lives rent free in your heads, and you haven't yet figured it out. There's a problem with that. It isn't about, oh, we just want people to be decent. And this is my question to every single one of you people. Let's talk about decency. Are you going to be universally decent, or are you just going to be Donald Trump decent? Because apparently there's two different standards. Mom, it's your floor.
Well, first of all, I don't know where or I didn't see the post, but the only child that Melania has is Barron. The other children were from his previous wife,
Right.
and has
That's who they're talking
absolutely
about.
nothing to do with illegal anything.
Mom, that's who they were talking about. They were talking about the first three children from the first marriage. That was what they were, and their whole contention was they should all be deported too, because she was not she was not an American citizen at the time. So the 14th Amendment doesn't apply to them. Well, of course it doesn't apply to them. He was married to her. That automatically makes them a citizen. Why do people not understand? Here's the thing. It's ignorant to even make the comment to begin with. It's even more ignorant for someone else to try to come to the rescue of an adult. Trust me, that woman does not need your help. If she feels strongly enough about it, she can respond in kind. What I also noticed, Dennis, I don't know whether you noticed it, but she also did not respond. The person who originated that post never said a word.
No, and that's how most of them
they don't
end up.
Right.
They don't respond.
And here's the thing. This goes right back to what I said. Own your crap. If you're going to get called out and you feel strongly enough, own your crap. This is not hard. I go on debates and do debates on stupid social media all the time. I do. And if I'm wrong, I at least have the integrity to say, you know what, I was mistaken about that. The debate I'm having, the debate I'm having with the guy on one of Hal's posts is back and forth about whether or not Trump is going to get sucked into a ground war. And the fact of the matter is he can't get sucked into a ground war because that's going to require approval from Congress, something he's not going to get. He's not going to get that. So that's not going to happen. And if it did happen, it'd be Cargo Island anyway, because that's really what strategically they need.
Well, in the rescue of the two pilots, that wasn't a ground. That wasn't considered a ground war. That was
that's not boots on. That was boots on ground to perform a rescue mission.
Yes, not
but
boots on ground to
tell me that Trump's running a propaganda and a propaganda run about Iran. I'm like, no, this has been going on for 47 years. You think that you know what you're talking about, and this is, and he brought up you forget that I'm old enough that remember Bush Jr. and Bush Sr. No, I was actually a part of Bush Sr.'s actions in Desert Shield, Desert Storm. So no, I'm very much aware of all of this. What I said on that, and this is not pro attack Iran. This is Iran is an evil regime. They kill their own people. They slaughter their own people. All you got to do is look back to January. They've hung at least 15 to 20 people since the conflict started.
Yeah.
So instead of actually trying to defend themselves, they went ahead and just killed what they considered dissenters. Well, that's evil. And I'm sorry.
40,000 people. Are you kidding me?
What was it? 60,000 in January, right?
I guess. I don't know.
Here's the thing. When you see evil, why was Adolf Hitler confronted the way he was? Why did it take so long? My question isn't that it happened. My question is, why didn't it happen? Why did it not happen before? They've been doing this on and off for 47 years.
Right.
Okay. It is in their bloody ass charter that America has to die. Death to America. It's on their currency, as my mom so eloquently posted.
Yep.
Death to America is on the Iranian, the Islamic Republic of Iran. Don't call Iranians, that you can call them Persians.
Right.
It is a part of their fabric, the regime's fabric. My question is, why didn't any of the other previous presidents, including Ronald Reagan, do anything about this?
I agree. I want to know why Reagan didn't step up and do something. That's a very good point to look into.
I think it had to do because he was more focused on taking down Russia, taking down the USSR.
And
True.
I agree with you on that,
Yeah,
Mom.
I agree.
And I think that he was wrong, but that's
Right.
my thinking he was wrong has absolutely nothing to do with what happened.
I mean, that's why they live in the glass house, right? I mean, if you really
Right.
think about it, that's why they live in the glass house and we don't. They
I-
have to make those decisions. I don't.
Going back to the immigration thing,
Yeah.
and the baby thing, that's been going on. Flying pregnant women just about ready to pop out has been going on since at least the 70s.
Right.
Because I remember that's when I first heard about it. And it was mostly Chinese.
Right. And here's the thing, Mom. Here's
Came
the
over
thing.
and they had their baby, and then they took their baby and went home. The
Because
thing is, what I keep telling everybody is follow the money.
it's one of those things where
business.
this is
these women over here.
This is the other side of that, and this is what that side doesn't want to acknowledge. What was the 14th Amendment intended to do, Dennis?
That originally the 14th Amendment was to basically for the slaves.
Right, to protect the offspring of the slaves, right?
The offspring of the slaves, correct.
What happens when you have a good intention? The 14th Amendment was a good intention, am I right?
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so we can agree on that.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when a good intention is left open-ended?
Oh, loopholes.
What we've got right now.
Loopholes to burn.
Right. And you can't sit there and say what Donald Trump is trying to do is unconstitutional, because what Donald Trump is trying to do is tell people that the 14th Amendment is not being utilized in the manner, and it can't be. I mean, for the love of God, you can put an expiration date on anything. I mean, if I had been, granted, look, we're looking at the past right now through rose-colored lenses, which I hate doing, but you would think that even the current form of legislation as it sits would be smart enough to realize, hey, wait a minute, the 14th Amendment, maybe it should have expired after 20 years. Mm-hmm. Would a 20-year expiration not be a bad thing?
Right.
I mean, hell, and I could take it 10 years. 10 years. Because by then you've accomplished what you set out to accomplish. You've protected the offspring of the slaves from Africa.
So should we have the Supreme Court go through each amendment and like with a fine-tooth comb and decide what loopholes can stand and what can't?
That's pretty much what's going on.
Or is that scary?
No, I mean, seriously, right now, especially with what we're watching with this whole debate about the 14th Amendment, that's exactly what's happening.
Unfortunately, with this particular Supreme Court, one has to wonder how many teeth are left in that comb that you're talking about.
Right.
Dennis.
Exactly. That's the scary part.
Well, and look, here's the thing. I am not. I know which members of the Supreme Court are just completely out of their mind. I just know who they are. Look, I'm sorry. This is going to sound really bad, but Ketanji Jackson, she should not be on that bench. I am sorry. This is going to sound horrible, But I mean, honestly, if you have just saw, and it isn't just that what she says is completely asinine. It's that
Right.
she doesn't behave with any manner of decorum in the Supreme Court. I was reading an article the other day about the fact that she steps and talks over the other Supreme. She is the lowest judge on that totem pole, and she talks over all of them, including the Chief Justice.
She's a DEI
I'm telling you,
appointee.
right?
I'm sorry.
And you know what? She behaves like a DEI.
Absolutely. You know who she sounds like? The girl that just lost her seat in Texas.
Yep. Amazing. Isn't it amazing? But she does it with more eloquence. All right. We're going to go to a break. You know why? Because we need to go to a break. And I told Joel I got this under control. He couldn't make it today. He isn't feeling very good. So keep your prayers for Joel. And here we go.
Cool tats, man.
Oh, for real. Thank you, bro. You see the Cobra?
And what is this one?
Oh, this?
Uh-huh.
That's my credo. No regrets.
Mm-hmm. You have no regrets?
Dad?
Nope.
Like not even a single letter?
No way. Not me.
Well, I love him. I think he's great.
Okay.
I think he's a real winner, Casey. If I were you, I wouldn't use protection.
I love him. I love him. I love that. That's like our thing, dude.
That is our thing. That's because I might be 57 going on 58, but there's Mama, I hate to tell you, there's still some 11 or 12-year-old floating around in there somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
just witness the one that Joel put up.
Right. All right. Let's carry our happy little backsides on. Dennis, I asked you to look up the oaths of office for president, vice president, and the Senate and the House of Representatives. I believe that oath is identical. I would like you to read in succession president, vice president, and Congress. And read all of them because this is where we're headed.
Well, the oath of the president. Let's see. U.S. President's oath of office mandated by Article 2, Section 1 of the Constitution is a binding pledge to execute the office and protect the Constitution. Administered on Inauguration Day, January 20th, the Chief Justice, the oath is, I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Okay.
There's more to it, I'm sure, but that's
that's it. That's the
nutshell. That's basically it, right?
Read vice president.
Let's see. Vice president. Let me do some. Okay. Let's see. Defend the United States Constitution. The oath, which includes "So help me God," is administered by a Supreme Court justice or another official. It's basically the same thing.
Good. Read Congress, and I guarantee you, Senate and Congress is the same.
So the oath of Congress is.
We're going to go somewhere with this, so just hang tight.
I have to learn how to spell.
I'm getting somewhere.
Phone.
Dennis, you did go to school, but I think it was Sheridan High School, so that kind of sets you.
That kind of says a lot, doesn't it? Let's see. Oath of office for members of U.S. Congress administered at the start of each new Congress pledges to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and faithfully discharge their duties as outlined U.S. Code, blah, blah, blah. And it's taken by senators and representatives
Beautiful.
to affirm their constitutional obligation.
Beautiful. Okay, so here's question number one. Are we a constitutional representative republic, or are we a mad mob democracy? Mom?
Well, we're supposed to be a constitutional republic.
Okay.
I'm not sure how much is left of the constitutional republic after the amendment, what is it, 17, was added, which changed the way senators were voted into office.
Okay.
So that's, which was,
Go on.
whether or not that actually makes any difference at this point in time, I don't know, because it appears to me like I'm not exactly against two parties. I am against two parties where the parties are so caught up in their own world that they do not talk back and forth, nor are they willing to compromise whenever they need to. And
Okay.
right now, the Democrat Party appears to be one single entity, except for Fetterman, who dances to the puppet strings that are being pulled by somebody.
Okay.
Uh,
I'm going somewhere with all this, and because I'm gonna ask Dennis the same question. Are we a representative based federal government that is guided by our Constitution and Bill of Rights, or are we a mad mob democracy?
Well, we're supposed to be a constitutional republic.
Okay. All right.
Right now, if you look at the way things are going, we're a mad mob democracy.
Okay. What was it that President Washington said about party politics in his farewell address? And keep in mind, he never read his farewell address live. The reason why was because he and Alexander Hamilton, who helped write it, really wanted the American people to absorb it, which is why I will give you all a recommendation. Run a Google search on President George Washington's farewell address and read the whole thing. It doesn't do any justice to cherry pick it, although I cherry pick it all the time, because I've read the whole thing numerous times on President's Day. We are still, in fact, a federal republic, but George Washington was right. Party politics create an environment of division where one party, when it gains total control. Now, I'm going to make a statement that's going to bend some people completely out of shape. The Republican Party does not do this, and I'm going to prove it in 15 seconds. President Washington said that if a party led by men with low morals and low integrity, I can't remember, I'm paraphrasing, that party would become vindictive and abusive to the other party.
Mm-hmm.
The Republican Party has in no way, shape, or form done that to the Democrat Party, but we watched the Democrat Party for 4 years do exactly that.
Absolutely.
Act completely very vindictive and abusive in their position. And I watched a post from Mr. Jason Crow, who doesn't follow his oath of office, who should resign from the House of Representatives because he's incapable, because he chooses not to follow the oath of office.
And he should get all merits of military stripped from him. I'm sorry. That's not a soldier that I want representing my country.
But this is what this guy has already said. I'm already creating a list. Jason Crow, representative of district, what is it, 9 or 3, Mom? I can't remember what damn district we're in. But what I can tell you is you just proved President George Washington right. You are exactly what he was trying to warn the nation, past, present, and future about.
Yep.
If we can't put these people and hold them to a standard, a higher standard, we are in trouble. We, the American people. And how do you hold them to a higher standard? The easiest thing is every 2 years, if they ain't doing their job, checking their voting record. Look at their voting record. I don't care what they say. I don't care that look, I think what he said when he said don't follow illegal orders, I think that was an act of sedition and he should have been removed.
That's seditious and treasonous. Yep. Absolutely.
But
All of them.
The easiest way to deal with these people is to vote them out and then track the voting record of the others. This is called being responsible for your republic.
Yeah.
You follow them. If they don't match your voting record, they don't match with their voting records, your values, vote their happy little butts out.
Term limits need to
agreed
be imagined.
Never happened. It just needs to be done.
It needs to happen. It for all, other than maybe the presidency,
which already has it.
But even the presidency, I don't know. Who knows?
8 years. You and I, well, we've done a show where I talked about term limits, and this is how I think the term limit should go. The presidency already has 2 terms, 4 years. That's right. 8 years total.
That's plenty.
The Senate, which is the higher seat in the House in Congress, gets 2 terms because there's 6 years. It's 12 years.
Yeah.
The lower seat in in Congress is the House of Representatives.
Yep.
Their terms are only 2 years. You give them 5. That's 10.
Yeah.
That's 8. The highest seat gets the least number. The higher seat in Congress gets more just by virtue of being a longer term. And the lowest seat gets more than the highest. Gets more than the executive branch, but less than the higher seat in Congress. That's what it should look like. And
so let me ask you a question.
If our founders had known that these people would do everything they could to simply stay in office and that they wouldn't be true to their oath, they would institute it. They never intended. Okay, for those of you watching, I'm trying not to interrupt myself because I hate doing that. But you people realize that the founders never intended for public service to be a full-blown career.
Right.
They never intended that. That's why you had a 2-year term. And then you went back into society where you belong, because that's where you belong. But it's created this them versus us mentality. Right. And look, it isn't just D versus R. It is all of them look at us as if we're peasants.
When my grandfather was mayor of Sheridan, he also had a full-time job.
Right.
He worked at Martin Marietta for 29 years, retired from there.
Yeah.
He was treasurer of Sheridan at one time, and he became mayor and filled that seat for a while. Unfortunately, ignorance moved in, and that he was removed or resigned, whatever. But and basically that was, I don't know, 30 years ago.
Right.
But the same thing is going on right now. You still have ignorance.
Yeah. And
trying to interfere.
And here's the thing is that side of the fence, meaning the left side of the fence, does such a good job. Mom will agree with this because Mom and you guys will both agree with this because you watch Fox News, and at least Fox News, especially like Gutfield and Tyrus and Waters, they do a really good job showing how well the left projects their own stuff. They project, once again, as I go back to own your crap, They project their own corruption onto the right better than the right, because the right is actually more interested in doing the right thing. I think that needs to be stated without question. Now, are you going to have people on the right that are not wanting to do the right thing? There's a couple of state representatives that want to create an amnesty bill to protect those who have been here for longer than 6 years. I don't care how long you've been here. If you came here illegally, go back where you came from and come back and do it the right way. I don't care. 6, 10, 20 years. I don't care.
Doesn't matter. Yeah,
and I'm sorry, it's going to bend people out of shape, but I'm sorry. That's just the way it is.
Well, Mark, going back to what you were saying about term limits with Congress, with representatives. I mean, Schumer. How long has Schumer been in?
A long time.
About
A long time.
Mom?
Too long.
Too long.
Yes.
What about McConnell?
Too long.
How about Waters? Oh, and look, we're going to get into all of this in a second because, you guys don't even know how bad it is. I mean, you guys watching this show, you don't understand how bad our government is being run. But I'm about to tell you so that you will understand why you should be bent out of shape and why this should be something you should be paying attention to. Before we do that, Mom, I'm going to give you the floor, and then we're going to go into another break.
Well, since you managed to move on to something else.
No.
Go ahead.
Come back to it. If you want, you can come back to it. That's the whole point of our show.
Well, since I can't remember exactly what my point was. I know. I lost that thought. That'll come back later.
This will make you feel better, Mom. Dead animals, their heads and their bodies.
Somehow that doesn't bring it back to me.
Doesn't help.
Hey, but I did know that nice story. And people like it.
Oh, no.
Here we go.
More lamb fries. Eat them while they're hot.
Andy, that's your third order.
I am hooked, Elizabeth. Call me Mr. Lamb Fries.
Now, there's a man who knows when he's got something good in his mouth.
You polish off that plate and you break the record. 28. That one makes 26.
Stand back, everybody. The record falls tonight.
Look at him go.
I believe he's right. I believe that record will fall tonight.
27.
It stood at 28 for nearly 2 years now.
That long? Go for it, Andrew.
28.
That's a tie. The new record! And it's still going. I thought that record was gonna last forever. Most folks just don't seem to have a taste for testicles no more.
Testicles?
Yes, ma'am. Sheep balls.
That's right.
Tell them why yours are so tasty.
Well, the trick is you've got to clip them off way up high.
Uh-oh. Looks like we got trouble here. I knew you should have explained these things better in the menu.
Oh, don't be strangers now, you hear?
$29.
That was pretty funny.
Oh, that one's good. That one's good.
Thank you, H-Train. That is glorious.
I've had a few Rocky Mountain oysters, and they're pretty damn good when they're done right.
I've heard they're good. I've never had.
I have had a couple of dishes of Rocky Mountain oysters, and they, surprisingly enough, taste like chicken.
I was gonna say,
the best ones I had was out at the stockyards. Was out at the rodeo.
Right. Okay. So we're talking about the oath of offices, whether loyalty to country should mean something. And that was really kind of where I was going. But of course, because the way the show works, we just kind of go wherever it leads. So we're going to go back to that. Loyalty. Does loyalty need to count when you are making an oath? Because remember, you're making an oath to your country and your countrymen. Your oath is to the Constitution of the United States. It's not to the people that voted you. I mean, it is to the people that voted you in because you made promises to them. You sometimes have to break those promises in order to maintain your oath of office. Your loyalty should never be to your party. It should always be to your nation. And let the chips fall where they may at that point. The problem that I see is, as far as these people are concerned, those oaths of offices are empty. They don't mean anything to those people. And once again, I can prove it. I can prove it. Jason Crow talked about when we gain control, the other side is going to pay. That is, in a nutshell, what that man said.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at how Colorado's legislation works, they're completely vindictive and also outside their damn minds.
Okay, here's the thought that I had that I lost. Actually, it's not the last 4 years with Biden that they just went after the conservative side. That started way back with Obama.
Yep.
And possibly before that. It showed up more with Biden because there was no check at all.
Well, hang on a second, because
it definitely started before that.
Because I remember, and you remember, and Dennis remembers, and the rest of you people who actually paid attention remembers that the IRS went after conservative-minded groups and conservative-minded individuals. They literally went after a single, not political affiliation, but a value affiliation.
Yes.
So don't forget, they did target conservatives. They can target it. What they did is that the IRS targeted anybody who did not fit the New World Order narrative, which is one reason why the IRS should be abolished. Bye-bye. End of story. End of discussion. And then the Biden administration went ahead and hired, 40,000 IRS agents to actually execute some of these orders?
Oh, that was 80.
80,000, right? And gave them firearms training. In what world does an auditor need firearms training?
Yeah, you're gonna come to my door with a briefcase and a gun? I mean, really?
Dude, I have no idea. I mean,
Yeah,
I just don't have I don't have a foggiest idea, because it's foreign to me that we would despise each other based on political ideology. That is a foreign concept to me.
Mhm.
Because, as much as they like to call Donald Trump all of these names, Donald Trump's Department of Justice has not have anybody who perpetrated the offenses that were perpetrated from 2020 to 2024 indicted or arrested. Any of them. We're talking Letitia James. We're talking the idiot out there in Georgia. We're talking the only one that I know who's had to stand in front of Congress is Jack Smith.
They've been threatened to be indicted, but
I mean, has the Department of Justice gone after
action?
Merrick Garland?
Letitia James is
White?
indicted, but that's because they
But that's
caught
because
her
she actually broke laws.
for something else. Yeah.
So
she went after Trump, but because
So
she
ask-
herself was breaking the law.
So ask yourself this question, and look, don't take my word for this. This is my other very famous statement. I've been saying this for years. Also, do not take my word for this. Don't take Dennis's word for it. Don't take my mom's Phyllis's word for it. Do your own research, and then okay. If you have a quarter of a brain, you do your own independent research. I would suggest you use DuckDuckGo to do your search, because if you do Google, it's going to come up almost exclusively left-leaning, and you're going to find that what I have been telling you is accurate. What I've been telling you is right. Merrick Garland has not had to stand in front of Congress except while he was still the AG. He should be sitting in front of Congress right now, answering to all of this. The guy who Holman replaced should be standing in front of Congress asking why he was derelict in the performance of his duties. That's not being vindictive, and that's not going after you because you're a Democrat.
So what about Pam Bondi?
You didn't do your job.
What about Pam Bondi?
Pam Bondi?
Should she
got
be
fired.
Answering questions?
Okay, so I think that she was put in a really bad situation. Matt Gaetz would have been better because Matt Gaetz would have actually gone after all of these things. She put her foot in her mouth more than once.
Yes.
And I will be honest, she didn't do what is required of her as the chief law enforcement officer in the land. Did a lot of people get arrested under her watch? Yes, for actual crimes. I mean, we're talking about drug trafficking. We're talking about human trafficking. They do have a record of that now.
Right.
But that stuff during the last 4 years was non-existent because that side of the fence didn't give a rip about the drug trafficking and the human trafficking. If they had, they would have kept the fence. They would have kept the wall. They would have kept everything in play as it had been. But remember, the first 50 executive orders that the Joe Biden signed were all anti-Trump immigration policies. 50 of his first 100.
Well, that's lawfare, right?
It is. It is. And here's the thing. We were supposed to and are supposed to be a nation of checks and balances. That's what a federal republic looks like. It all goes back to your oath. Are you true to your oath or are you not? And look, if you understand just how bad it is in DC, let me explain to you how bad it is. It only requires Congress, the House of Representatives, to have 25 people in the hall to be considered an active session. 25 out of over 500. Okay. Because of COVID, there were rules put in place for absentee voting. It's called ghost voting.
Right.
Look up Michael Brown because on his podcast this weekend, yesterday, he talks exclusively about that. You cannot be a representative-based government when you aren't on the floor debating the topics, debating the issues, and then voting in person. The founders did not intend for people to be voting remotely unless they had to be remote. The current Congress and the way it's run, they might as well not even be there. That's not hyperbole. That's the truth. They're both guilty. Maxine Waters is the biggest offender of this. Ms. Maxine Waters, who told everybody to get in the Donald Trump people's faces and tell them they're not welcome here. Hey, maybe it's me. But
those are the people. Those are the people that we need to not be in, sitting in that seat for 20, 30 years.
Right. But therein lies the problem, right? Here's the problem. This is what people need to understand. If you are going to scream no kings, then you better start acting like you own your government. Because I'm telling you right now, you own your government. I've been preaching this since 2020. I've been preaching this since before 2020. This is our government. This is my mom's government. This is Dennis's government. This is H-Train's government. And H-Train is right. We do need to go to the halls of Congress. It's our hall. We need to make our voices heard.
That's our White House.
It's our voice.
Yes.
The only way that we force them to start listening to us, and trust me, they're not. Mom, you agree with that?
Oh, yes, for sure. I think there are a few, generally, perhaps Republicans that will listen. I haven't seen much listening on by Democrat supposed representatives and senators.
Well, why do you think
Hickenlooper
that is?
and Bennett are useless.
Why do you think that is?
Well, they don't want to be. They don't. I don't follow their
It's
agenda.
it's
Here's the thing that I think most people miss. It really isn't. They are the representatives and the senators are way more tied to their money backers
right.
than they are to the people they represent.
Correct.
If we really want real change, and this is my opinion, nobody else has to have it. My opinion is that there needs to be a total revamp of how elections are run, not just in the voting, but in the campaign itself, so
We've
that
talked about
the
that.
big money is cut out of it.
And the challenge with that is this: if you do that, you eliminate 80 to 95% of the paid advertisements, which before you say anything, which is a First Amendment issue. And that Mom, this is me agreeing with you, but this is also me understanding that the Bill of Rights and the First Amendment is there to make sure that a person's voice and a person's viewpoint is not being stepped on. Well, if you are campaigning with your voice. Now, what do I think about that? I don't think there should be any ads. I think that there should be a scheduled series of debates. You put your values up against mine, and we'll see whose values match the voters more. That's what I think should happen. And it should be televised. I agree with you. And I agree with you that the big money that goes into these campaigns, a huge portion of it is all in advertisement. It's a huge portion. If you're really interested in running for office, you need to do more to door. You need to have more volunteers that are willing to do boots on ground. Scott Pressler is the most perfect example of what I'm talking about. That dude is boots on ground. He is out there day in and day out, boots on ground, changing districts from blue to red. But at the end of the day, the American people can shut this down on their own. They just don't realize it. That's the thing. The American people can shut this down. They don't realize it. And even worse, most of them don't care. Because the one person that I did have that conversation with was very honest with me. I don't see much of your posts because I don't watch most of your posts.
Right.
So that person who criticized me for calling the other person a moron doesn't even know where I stand on a lot of things. And what that person would have seen is that there's a good possibility that they would have seen that there's more that she agrees with me than not. And this isn't about Donald Trump being decent or anything. I've already thrown that in these people's faces. You want to talk about indecency? Let's talk about indecency. During his campaign in 2019, I can count at least 6 different times that Joe Biden made blatantly racist comments that were completely and totally ignored. But according to you people out there that don't apparently have the ability to think for yourselves, Donald Trump's the racist because you took a 13-second soundbite and you called it racism. I'm sorry. That doesn't work for me.
What was that? Poor people have just as many rights as white people do.
Hey,
Isn't that what he said?
Bald-faced dog pony, dog soldier, or whatever the hell he said.
Hey, dog-faced pony show.
If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Okay, we can do this.
Dude, yeah. When I heard that, I'm like, oh my God, that's the
Look,
most racist goddamn thing I've ever heard.
and look, we can let's talk about the other indecency things. Did Donald Trump say that he grabbed women by their private parts? No, he did not say that. He was in a locker room talking to a bunch of other rich guys, and what he said was, women today look at you with such eyes of adoration that they would let you. He didn't say that he did. He said
Right.
they would let you. And my wife, and my wife said, I would not let anybody do that to me. I said, well, you have more integrity than a lot of these women because they see the affluence, they see the money, they see it, and they want to be a part of it. And I'm not saying that it's all women because dudes do it too.
Yeah.
But don't sit there and tell me, oh, we just want a decent person in the White House. Not when FDR and his wife did not spend a single day in the same bed during his years in office. Let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about JFK, who is considered the exalted one in certain circles, who had an affair with an East German spy. Let's talk about decency. If you want to have these conversations, ask me to come on the show, and I'll let you come on the show, and I'll throw it at you and make you either eat it or throw it back.
Well, good old Teddy Kennedy, who left the girl in the car
to drown
in the pond.
But we're talking about, we just want someone decent in the White House. You know what? Here's a news flash. The last truly decent people that were in the White House would be Abraham Lincoln and maybe Ulysses S. Grant. But don't even think that Abraham Lincoln was an angel. Abraham Lincoln authorized a mass hanging of Native Americans to make sure that he did not have an uprising on that side while he was fighting the Civil War. Was it right? Hell no. Was it evil? Hell yes. But that's what he did. And he is considered the bastion of civil rights. But he violated civil rights during his presidency. And I'm not saying this in a manner of, oh, he's evil, he's bad. I'm sitting there saying, if you're going to have a standard, then you better have a standard and you better stand on it, because I stand on my standard. No, Trump is not perfect. Yes, Trump says things that are really stupid. I would never have said what Trump said about ending a civilization, not in the way that he said it. He should have said, I am going to shut down their ability to communicate. I am going to shut down their bridges. I am going to shut down their power plants, which, oh, by the way, is not a war crime. Because if it were, George H.W. Bush, George Bush, Bill Clinton would have all been guilty of the same damn thing. Mom, you want to add to that?
Well, I could add lots of stuff to it, but you covered pretty much all of
it. It's hypocrisy. It's knowing.
Well, hypocrisy is common, that's for sure.
And here's the thing. It isn't like this information is not available. It's that side of the fence is so twisted with this weird ass Trump derangement syndrome that they choose to ignore it. That's the sad part. That's why I call people like that morons. Because I am critical of the things that my president says. I am critical of the things that he does.
The sad thing is I don't know what civilization he was talking about killing, because honest to God, the true civilization of the Persians was already dead whenever Khomeini took over.
Well, yes and no. I disagree with you. In Iran, in that area and on that property, in what is now known as the Islamic Republic of Iran, yes, the Persian way of life was squashed. However, there are a lot of them that escaped that want to go back to their country and want to reestablish a much more moderate way of life. And most of them were not and are not Muslims. That's the other side of this. Everybody looks at Iran and they go, they must be Muslim. No, actually, they're not. The people on the ground are not Islamic. There are Muslim. Let's just okay. For the sake of difference, a Muslim practices the religion. An Islamist practices the politicized version of that quote unquote religion. Okay. So the Islamic Republic of Iran is religiously a minority. But because they are the controlling factor and because they will kill you if they find you, everything is underground. And that is a fact. It is an absolute fact. So you have Persia and you have Persians that want to go back to Persia. They just need the people that are there to raise up, take the weapons from them. Believe it or not, you have the numbers. They got the numbers. They just got to make a decision that they're not going to cower. And that's their decision to make. To quote John F. Kennedy when he talked about Vietnam, it's got to be their war to win or lose. We've leaned on the regime. Okay, Israel is still leaning on the regime. If you want the regime to topple, you give it a shove. But the United States and Israel cannot be the entity that gives it a shove.
Well, that was the problem with Vietnam and Korea.
Right.
We didn't go there to win. We didn't go there to do anything but make our presence known, which didn't do a damn thing.
No. At the end of the day, it did.
But get a bunch of kids killed.
But once again, and look, this is part of the conversation I've been having with this guy on Hal's Post. He doesn't want to see American people. He doesn't want to see Americans and American service members die for what he thinks is a lost cause. I respond to him like this. I wonder what side of the fence you would have been on during and before and before the revolution and then during. Would you have been one of those people that says, we're going to raise our rifles because this is evil and we're going to stand up to evil, which is a lot of the revolutionaries. That was a very big part of their stance. Or are you going to say, well, there's nothing we can do about it because nothing is going to change? Well, my opinion is you're either one or the other. And my opinion about Iran is the Islamic Republic, the IRGC, is evil. And we have stood up to evil again and again and again. We have let that evil fester for 47 years. And I'm sorry that this is unpopular, and I'm sorry that it steps on toes. But you are supposed to, in the Bible, it says, you stand up to evil where you see it. You confront evil where you see it.
Yes.
So why aren't we confronting evil? I don't know. How come did not just in Iran, but many of the other Arab states in that region have systematically killed many, many, many Christians over the past few years?
Because it's easy to do when you have the guns and they don't.
Yeah. Well,
and Mom,
in Africa, look at the carnage there.
And Mom,
against Christians.
We talked about this when we talked about Islam and we talked about the Quran. It's in the Quran. It is in the Quran. The demon Muhammad made it abundantly clear that unless you convert it, you are to be killed. If you walked away, you were to be killed. There are former Muslims that come out and they talk about how it was one of the hardest decisions of their lives because of the threat on their lives, not just the ostracization of the family, but because it was a threat of their mere existence, and that their coming to Jesus Christ was a big thing for them. Because you're talking about fear all over this place.
I'm pretty familiar. I can't say I've read the whole thing, but
are you sure?
Excuse me. I'm pretty familiar with the Satanic Bible by Anton LaVey.
Yeah.
And honestly, I haven't read either one all the way through, but that compared to the Quran, if I had to pick one that was more evil,
right,
I would probably pick the Quran.
Right.
And that sounds crazy because
No.
you're talking the Satanic Bible, right?
But no.
But honestly, yeah, Muhammad was definitely at the right hand of Lucifer.
And what you got to understand is, and I don't know any Satanists, and I don't know. I think I do know one
I don't
atheist,
know.
but
I
I'm
don't.
gonna be very honest with you. I know Muslims, and I have friends that are Muslims. The the question that I would ask them if I ever had the opportunity is, if you knew that I was a Christian, at the end of the day, what do you think of me as a Christian? That's the question that I would ask them. As far as the demonic Bible, believe it or not, if you are a Satan worshiper, you are not obviously worshiping God, but you're also not condemning people who worship God to death.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
not
That's
hyperbole.
what the difference is. That's where
That's
the difference is.
right. And by extension, I've been through the Bible. I haven't been through all of it. And as far as the Ethiopian Bible, I still got about 22 books that I haven't even touched because it's pretty extensive. But what I will say is I have yet to see where the teachings of Jesus said that non-believers must be converted or eliminated. Maybe it's me. I could be wrong, but there has to be some semblance of morality there, and there's not. And you know, it's real hard to have these conversations because people get the wrong idea about what's being said. What is being said is actually factual. It isn't discriminatory in any way, shape, or form. I am not saying that Muslims don't have the right to worship. They absolutely do. Freedom of religion, that is part of the First Amendment. What I'm saying is you really need to look at your religion, and then you need to decide, is your soul worth it?
Well, I mean, are you
Toes now.
truly peaceful? Are you about peace, or are you about nobody else's religion is valid except for ours?
Well, yeah, and it's the consequences thereof, right? It is literally the consequences thereof. All
Yeah.
right, folks, it is time to call it. Do you guys look? If you like it, share it. If you don't like it, okay. If you want to make comments, you can make comments. I would love for you guys to come on.
Yeah, please come on.
And look, I send the links. So, and I'll put the link on in the comment section next time, so that if you want to jump on, you can jump on. The more people that want to jump on, I am not like a lot of people. I want people to come on. I even want people I don't agree with to come on. In fact, one of those people that we talked about, Dennis, I'm keeping that person's name out because it's important, but that person was invited on the show.
Oh, it's a she, right?
It is
that okay? Good.
and it's not the K.
Okay, interesting.
Nope, it's not the K. I did not
Interesting.
invite the K.
I would. Let's welcome her with open arms.
I absolutely would. I don't believe that I would get her on. She would be more than welcome. Look, what we did to Lucas was we exposed him.
Yeah, we did.
And look, this is the challenge for any one of you. I'm not going to ambush you. If you've watched the show, if you've heard the show, if you've heard my rants, it's not like you don't know what to expect.
Well, I think people would come on thinking 3 against 1, but really, I don't want people to be intimidated by that, because we're all three of us are in agreement with most things that we talk about, but there's always still going to be some debate of certain topics. So
and look, here's the thing. Objective conversation is always going to be much more beneficial than subjective conversations.
Absolutely.
I'm not trying to be subjective. And if someone would give me an argument that remotely made sense, I would probably come on the show and go, hey, I finally got a comment from someone who leans to the left that actually makes sense. Unfortunately, 90% of what I hear from that side of the fence is it's always about our president. And
That's
it's always and it does.
You're not going to find too much of that making any sense, unfortunately.
Right. And the other thing that you're not going to find is when you ask about policies, they always go back to it. And that's what gets real frustrating. You can't go back to it. And I've asked this question. What about this policy? What about that policy? We did an entire episode of reading some of these asinine, crazy bills that the left wanted to push.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we are asking a legitimate question. What is your opinion on this stuff? Right. Well, if you look at it and you go, well, that doesn't make sense. Well, duh. And I almost guarantee you, if they actually did their own research and researched it objectively, they would find that they actually agree with us.
Yeah.
Much more often than they don't. But as this person told me during our conversation, I just want someone decent in the White House. And I'm like, you haven't had anybody decent in the White House since Ronald Reagan. And I guarantee you, he wasn't the most perfect either.
No.
Sorry. You are so hyper-focused on this guy that you're totally forgetting that all of them are flawed.
And both Bushes are forget about it.
To the core.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. So, with that said, God bless you all. God bless these United States of America. If you want to come on, send me a message. I'll send you a link. You can come on. You are welcome to come on. I promise you. I promise you. Dennis promise you. My mom promise you. You will not be attacked. That's not what we do. Do I call you?
We will agree to disagree at the end.
Look, we will call you out when we hear something that is blatantly ridiculous, like Lucas saying that Biden deported more people than Bush did. Yeah. We that was what really got the ball rolling on that show, right?
Yeah.
But we do not attack people on our show.
Please have your research ready to go.
Yeah. And look, we are abrasive. I readily admit, right, Mom? I am an abrasive individual. I'm hard to live with.
Yep.
Dennis, you ain't lived with me yet. You don't want to.
No, I'll take your word for it, man.
Hey, man, you have room at your house? I'd like to. Can I move in for like a week?
Well, sure. I got that couch right next to my thing there, so yeah, why not?
If you snore, it's out of the question.
I do. Well, actually, I don't know if I do. Nobody's ever said.
All right, guys. God bless you all. God bless these United States of America. Dennis?
Godspeed, everybody. Love you.
Mom?
Godspeed. Have a good day, everybody.
Life is like a duck. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. Here at Military Broadcast Radio, we're teaming up with our friends at Die Tired, the veteran-friendly music band spreading strength, resilience, and mental health awareness, one shirt at a time.
And check this out. Their brand new shirts feature broadcast beaker right on the breast pocket. A reminder that you can weather the storm, and you're never alone.
Shirts are only $25, and proceeds support giving veterans a voice. MBR's mission to teach veterans how to podcast and videocast. Because when our vets are talking, they're not overthinking. They're not second-guessing. Together, we stop the 22 stigma. Grab your shirt today at mbradio.us and hit the shop. Or go directly to toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband. That's toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband.
Suit up. Stand strong.
Remember, we're unduckable together.
You're built tougher than the storm.
Thanks for watching and listening to Military Broadcast Radio on Roku TV. If you missed today's episode, the podcast will be available on
and all major platforms shortly after we go off the air. We're here for you, not for us, giving veterans a voice. This is Military Broadcast Radio.